All right. Well, hey, man, you're the first one to hop on an interview. So congratulations. Look, man, this is very just kind of informal, having a conversation. I got a couple kind of questions laid out, kind of a layout process. But other than that, we'll just kind of have a conversation around this. How much time do you have today, just so I know when we need to cut it off at?
How long were you hoping for?
Uh, 15, 20, 30 minutes, depending.
That'll be okay.
Cool. Awesome.
Yep.
So,
Sure, I got it.
jump right to it. Tell me, introduce yourself. David Whitman here on the show. Tell me a little bit about your business, what you do, what you specialize in, the name of your company, where you're located. Kind of let you roll with that there.
Okay. Well, David Whitman. I originally am a CDA certified coppersmith.
Okay.
Lifelong fourth generation roofing contractor. My family's been in the industry for 40 years and in our market, and basically we specialize in large commercial and large residential, but specialists of slate, tile, and architectural sheet metal, specifically coppersmithing. So that's how I got my start. Started at a young age. Worked my way up every step of the ladder until I joined a sheet metal union in my 20s. So now I own several companies. I handle insurance claims and TPA work, third-party administrator, supplementing and appraisals, as well as consulting work. So.
Awesome. Now, you have a couple different businesses. Are there any businesses you'd rather focus on during this conversation? I know you mentioned that there were a couple that you wanted to focus on, if I was mistaken.
Yep. Fair Claim Team. Fair Claim Restoration is a general contracting company, and we have Fair Claim Team is a company off that's a Fair Claim Restoration as a parent to that company. And what we do at Fair Claim Team is we handle large loss supplements. We help implement a claims process. We do consulting for residential roofing contractors that are trying to get into commercial work. We show them how to cold call large commercial buildings that are in the center of storm damage, storm swaths. We work with all that types of contractors across the country doing that, and it's really been something that's been the focal point of what we're doing. Our roofing companies and everything. We've done that for so long that we owe it to the industry, and we owe it to our basically our brothers in arms to give out the information that we have and teach and pass it along. So you can't get stuck in your business forever. So it's all about moving on to the next thing and keeping your interest peaked. So for us, it's helping other people. We really like to see. There's a lot of people that just need a push, and there's a lot of people that just need help with mapping out their processes, their workflows, automation. When it comes to technology and software, like all the different CRMs that are in this industry are kind of developing and growing. It's kind of was antiquated not too long ago, and it's kind of rapidly changing. So guys like me, I'm 30 years old. I'm at the front of the wave of that technology, I feel, and it's kind of a takeover going on in a lot of these industries.
Yeah. Where are you based out of?
So New York is where I'm born and raised, Buffalo, New York. It's where my heart is. I love the people there. It's so I'm always gonna have the Western New York roots and the hometown love. But we've broken out of our shell, and we've got partner companies that we work with in several markets that we started out as like joint venture partners, and certain ones we've grown to business partners with. So we have a few other companies that you won't see listed on like my typical Facebook page or something like that. But
so kind of a hot topic of discussion with in different groups and different industries. Some people are noticing that business is shooting up through the roof with this COVID-19 stuff going on. Some are like just hunkering down, trying to make it through. Some are trying to take over more market share and capitalize on this. Where are you looking to position yourself in this industry? How is your business and businesses being affected by COVID-19, and what do you see coming out of this kind of preparation for yourself?
So I've seen a little bit of everything. Being in New York, I've seen the worst of it. Right?
I'll believe it.
It's crazy. Yeah, so we felt like we were on a leash for a little while. We felt like we were trapped because this all happened right as the season was breaking out. And if you're in the Northeast or anywhere that has a winter, this is the bread and butter. This is when everybody's getting ready to go full speed. And then, the weather was right for it. The storms were right for it. So a little bit we felt held back, but, we pivoted and we focused on our partners in other markets. And we, kind of just waited day by day. Everything was changing. It was very hard to plan ahead and know what your schedule was going to be. And we had all types of flights booked to different states that we had to just cancel. And basically for us, it was amazing because a lot of people slowed down and wanted to supplement their claims more, wanted to, reach out and get help with claims that normally they would have left behind. So as far as claims go and supplementing and all that, we saw a big increase in demand. But what's crazy? Every time there's some type of massive event like this in America, even where there could be an agenda behind it, there couldn't be, whatever side you may subscribe to, it kind of backfires because you look around and you see that people come together. And then in the end, we appreciate all the little things that you took away from us that much more. And that it also shows you that entrepreneurs out here, you can't stop us. When you really have that hunger and that passion, you're going to find a way to make it work. And it's amazing what we've seen. Even just this Zoom thing we're on right now, we've been doing Zoom for years. There's times when people thought we were geniuses because we were taking over their screen with Zoom, and they were like, oh my God, what is this? And now the whole world knows about Zoom and is using it. So certain people just, were ready. We're ready for a big surge of business, and they got it. It didn't hurt certain people. It helped a lot of people. And for us, it was hard to push contractors and business partners, hard to push certain people that have that fear or are really protecting what they're growing and they're building to like pay for marketing, telemarketing leads, or, everybody was very cautious with the risk they were taking for years, and then this kind of forced people's hand because you couldn't go out and knock doors.
Right.
You had to have appointments set, and for a lot of people it's scary, but for a lot of people they see those investments are usually no-brainers as long as you're working with a reasonable company that's pretty ethical at least. There's going to be some bad ones out there, but that's with every business. So for the most part, we've seen people just kind of just ramp up their digital game. They're leveraging the technology and show them what they can do without having to sit 2 hours in the dining room at the table with people to get a signature. You can get you can do virtual inspections. You can send over all your contracts digitally. Everything can be done with technology, and it speeds up the sales process. A lot of people do want contact, but for the most part, there's a large chunk of the population now that they want the nuts and the bolts, and they want it on their tablet, they want it on their phone, and they'd rather sign it on there. I think it's it's going to be the new wave of the future now.
Yeah. So are you doing, you mentioned that you do you're the fair claim team, you're the implementation of like the insurance claims, right? So do you bring in the leads as well for different companies, or how is that, is it an overall kind of service to these different?
Well, it's mainly insurance. Where insurance claims, well, it's never good to say insurance claims specialist, the term,
right.
But We do loss appraisals for disputes between policyholders and the insurance carriers. It's basically like arbitration. We do TPA work, which is third-party administrative work, which is just supplementing insurance claims to get the incurred costs for the contractor. And a lot of times they spend too much time fighting the insurance company, so it saves a lot of time to
just outsource it to your team to handle all the gotcha.
Right. And then
so you thrive off of businesses that may or may not, like, but if they have an excess of insurance claims that they're handling, they're doing the business and they're just working on fulfilling it, they outsource that to you and all that gets handled on the back end for them. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yeah, pretty much. But then we also do basically A to Z full spectrum consulting for roofing and restoration contractors, particularly smaller ones that are trying to scale or that are stuck at that glass ceiling, trying to get in, residential ones that don't know how to get into commercial, where them bigger, larger projects with bigger margins will help them, scale up faster. And then also retail roofing contractors that somehow have stumbled into a few insurance claims or stumbled into the industry and are just desperate for information or desperate for help. And not a lot of people want to help the people who are just lost. So we help all those people out. And usually, we advise them and consult with them a little bit on the beginning. And before you know it, it leads to consulting work in every avenue and every tier of their business,
Yeah, I heard you mention some stuff around like these virtual estimates. I've been talking to a couple contractors that are doing that now. Fencing, deck repair, roofing companies with Google Maps and everything. It's kind of interesting to see how much resistance in the past there was to technology kind of shifting in this kind of business, and how much it's needed now when the world shuts down. That's another question I was going to ask you. When all this is said and done, where do you think business is going to continue on from here when the doors do open back up and we can do some of that old school stuff? Do you think that's going to be as prevalent, or do you think people are going to start shifting to more digital marketing strategies? And
I think it was a lot of that stuff was on its way out anyways, because evolution is real, and there's a big gap in this new era, the young guns right now with that growing up with this technology. And there's a certain age group within the millennials that people might not agree with, but the front half of the millennials that grew up with this technology are hungry and taking over, real estate, roofing, just all types of contracting. And I mean, the writing's on the wall with that too. I mean, it's happening rapidly. And basically the old school contractor can go out and measure a roof and sell to the homeowner that they're going to climb up there and measure it with the tape measure and do it all the old way, and that's their sell. And they try to sell the homeowner on we're going to have wrong measurements or something because we're not going to ever climb the roof, and we're just going to measure from satellite and all that. But what they don't get is we'll measure 100 roofs in the time that they'll measure 2 roofs, and we're going to be 99.9% accurate. And if we have to adjust something, we'll show up and adjust it. And it's either evolve or dissolve. You know what I mean? If you're afraid of change, then Father Time leaves no one behind. And there's a lot of the older people who are adapting and who are figuring things out because they're not stupid. And for the most part, people in general are adapting to technology. So some people are getting it, but when it comes to technology and stuff, insurance adjusters, they use software and technology and they're pretty good. They train and study for years, but us young guns, we just crush them because the internet is where we live,
everyone's on there. You
can't beat us on there,
Yeah, I get it.
We have everything at our fingertips, you know what I mean? All the knowledge, it's basically this industry, and I believe almost every industry, it's all about how you can mine information, but more importantly, like your network is your net worth. So can you knock at the right doors and make sure you're in front of the right people in business and in your partnerships and networking? But
Mm.
On top of that, can you ask for what you want with conviction? You know what I mean? People are scared to ask for what they want. They sit and they wait. They're scared to ask for help. They're scared to get a coach, consulting. At the highest levels, people are still training, still consulting, still going to see Grant Cardone. And then after they're done with him, they go see other. You're never going to stop seeing people training and learning. And the people that don't get that, they have an issue, a wall and a stubbornness. And you get past that and you realize it's okay to ask for help, and that you can get coaching from somebody, or you can ask somebody who's been there to show you the way. You know what I mean? You can't drink the water for them, but you can take them to it,
So, what do you got? Any plans moving forward next 6 months, next year, next 5 years that you're really like benchmarks that you're looking to hit?
Well, we're trying to get up over 3,000 claims handled per year for our supplementing. The ultimate goal for that is over 5,000. Well, that's the next goal. So we're really ramping that up and scaling that up. But we're scaling some of our partner companies. We have a company, Alpha One Exteriors in Ohio. And I don't know if you're familiar with the storms that have been happening in Ohio. They've had a tornado last year, tornado a couple of weeks ago, a couple major hailstorms just recently. And it's one of the most potent storm markets right now. Right. So we're scaling to Cincinnati, to Columbus, Cincinnati and Columbus, and we're already in Dayton over there.
Yeah.
And then, I'm in the process of trying to close on a house in Texas. It's like 20 years ahead of time in Texas. You never see another place in the country that's quite like it. I mean, it's honestly feels like it's 10 to 20 years ahead of every other state in certain things. So the real estate market, everything looks like a mansion. You could have a $500,000 house. It looks like it's a $2-3 million house.
Yeah.
It's the biggest roofing market in the country. The more roofing contractors there than the entire rest of the country put together. So, that's not the reason we're going there, but we have a lot of business relationships and partnerships down there. So kind of doing the snowbird thing, half as far as personally where I'm going to be living. Yeah.
That's awesome. So kind of wrapping it up here, last kind of topic I have here is any random advice, thoughts, rude remarks you have for anybody who may be listening in the group.
Rude remarks?
Yeah, you can nail it home, man. PG-13, we're here.
Oh, this podcast will definitely do good, right? Bring on the controversy.
Right.
Basically, let's see. No rude remarks, really. I don't really have any hate. I probably would have more haters than I would hate me. And all I know is you can't really hate. You can't hate down. You only really can hate up. So I got nothing but love. But I will say that, it's 2020. If you look at the world around you, anything can happen at any time. Nothing is guaranteed. Nothing's promised. And people should stop being scared to just go for it. And so many people are so calculated and trying to do things so perfectly that they don't realize the value of just taking swings and putting your name in the pot and just going for it more. And, I think if there's ever a time to just go all in, shoot for the stars, and if you land on the moon, you know what I mean? Like, just go for it. And I guess my big message would be just stop being scared. People got to realize that that's what it is. It's fear. Push your chips back in the middle, go all in, and you know what I mean? Set your goals higher. Too many people are trying to set, realistic small goals that set themselves up for small growth. It's okay to dream big, and it's okay to just go for it and start the process,
Yeah. Well, David, I think we're going to wrap up here. Thank you for coming on, man, to answer some questions and kind of just be our first participant here on the show. I'll be in touch on the background. I got this all recording through Zoom right now. And as we keep going, I'll be in touch with you, man. Maybe we can have some more conversations around how we can work together, and we'll go from there.
If you need any good guests or anything like that, let me know.
Yeah.
I'm happy to help, and you know, I like being number one. So maybe this will be 100 shows later, and I could be number 100 too. So
Yeah, right. Okay, that sounds good.
you better start knocking them down quick, though.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, man. Have a good one.
You too.
All right.